Hi, my name is Naamira Izzati binti Abdul Rahman. My metric number is 8182788. I will present introduction. Financial is an initiative of a business, individual, organization, a country that works to study the financial situation to achieve their goals. Financial statement can provide such as financial report, profit and loss statement, and annual report. In this report, we use company and Nestle company as our company to analyze the company's financial and make a comparison using the annual report available on the Bursa Malaysia for the years 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Mas Soleha binti Awang Rajik and my metric number is 8182568. So I will present about business nature for Yos and Nestle company. Yos or Yo Hiap Seng is a company known with a food and beverage industry both locally and internationally. Yos was establishment in 1901 and they start from little shop making soya sauce. Yos also found by Yo Kiang Lian in Zhangzhou in the Fujian province of China. Okay, today Yos Malaysia serves as an important manufacturing center for Yos global distribution for Indonesia, New Zealand, Australia, Europe and Indochina, and making it a leading food and beverage company with international presence. What continues to make Yos a leader in its own right in the commitment to only manufacturing product using to the fresh ingredient in the order to maintain the natural delicious taste and flavor. This company also strict for hygiene standard and strict quality control to ensure the high quality of all product. Next is Nestle company. Nestle is known as a multinational company and it is one of largest food and the beverage industry in the world. Nestle Malaysia also start operating in Malaysia in 1910 and they aim to provide Malaysia with a halal and a quality brand product. Nestle, also founded by Henry Nestle, one of the pharmacy born in the German, has begins the business in 1866 with the foundation of Aglo Swiss considered milk company. He also used scientific knowledge to develop products that meet consumer needs. Today, Nestle Malaysia runs 6 factories and has more than 5,000 employees working for it globally, and Nestle Malaysia has been successful in producing nearly 500 halal goods with a halal certificate. With that, Nestle Malaysia also received a number of awards such as the Kantar Brands 2022, Malaysia International Excellence Award 2022 and Nestle Innovation Award 2022.
My name is Wanur Zarifah binti Wan Zainuddin. My metric number is A21A3483. I would like to explain about the analysis of the ratio in Yos Malaysia Company for 3 years, ending date is from 2022, 2021 and 2020. First, this table shows the data analyzed based on the Yos Malaysia website. This data will also be analyzed in the form of ratio. For example, in liquidity ratio analysis, there is a current ratio. The formula is current asset divided by current liabilities, which is RIM 343,605 divided by RIM 62,413 equal to 5.51 times. The asset test ratio is current asset minus inventory divided by current liabilities, which is RIM 343,605 minus RIM 61,339 divided by RIM 62,413 equal to 4.52 times. Second, this table shows the data collected in 2021. This data will also be analyzed to form a ratio. Each ratio has its own formula according to several ratios. Finally, this table shows the data analyzed in 2020. These 3 years have 40 ratios in them. Each ratio is divided into 4 ratio parts, namely liquidity ratio, capital structure ratio, asset management efficiency ratio, and profitability ratio. This ratio is very necessary in every company to identify process in the company.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nura Ayah Suhadanti Yusrita. My metric number A21A3425. I will present the financial ratio for the Nestle companies over the current 3 years. First, the 2022 ratio. These figures are collected from the financial statement of Nestle company main website. These numbers are used in the analysis as the ratio. This data is divided into 4 parts, which is liquidity ratio, capital structure ratio, asset management efficiency ratio, profitability ratio. Taken the ratio for 2021 is taken for analysis by entering the data into the ratio formula as prepared. As we can see, every calculation of this ratio shows that the Nestle company was in a strong position throughout the year, considering that the nation is currently rearranging its business activities in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. These 3 years have been selected for analysis to determine the company capability by the ratio population method. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Shinu Syahidat Jati binti Muhammad Syahirul Akbar. 818287 will present about horizontal analysis for current ratio. This national balance sheet revealed that the current ratio liquidity ratio for 2020, 2021 and 2022 is 5.43 times, 5.66 times and 5.51 times, indicating an increase or decrease in liquidity. Asset test ratio. Yes, Malaysia experienced a decline in the asset test ratio between 2020 and 2021, but a rise in 2021, suggesting a decline in its ability to repay creditors. Average collection period. Yes, Malaysia average collection periods ratio for 2020, 2021 and 2022 was 69.09 days, 79.24 days and 67.67 days. Inventory turnover ratio. Yes, Malaysia inventory turnover ratio has decreased from 4.59 times in 2020 to 4.15 times in 2021 and 4.09 times in 2022, indicating effective inventory management. Net working capital ratio. Yes, Malaysia decreased from 306785 ringgit in 2020 to 284805 ringgit and 281192 ringgit in 2022. Horizontal analysis of leverage ratio. Debt ratio. Yes, Malaysia debt ratio increased from 13.85% to 14.79% in 2021, with a slight decline in 2022. Time interest and ratio. Yes, Malaysia debt ratio increased from 13.85% to 14.79% in 2021, with a slight decline in 2022. Horizontal analysis of asset management efficiency ratio. Total asset turnover ratio. Yes, Malaysia total asset turnover ratio increased from 2020 to 2022 with a 0.47 times in 2020, 0.49 times in 2021, and 0.54 times in 2022. This suggests the firm is using its investment efficiency. Fixed asset turnover ratio. Yes, Malaysia fixed resource turnover ratio for 2020, 2021, and 2022 is 1.4 times, 1.48 times, and 1.65 times, indicating a 3 years increase from 2020 to 2023. Horizontal analysis of profitability ratio. Gross profit margin. Yes, Malaysia gross profit margin will increase from 2020 to 2032, reaching 28.36 in 2020 and 29.7% in the following year. In 2022, it will reach 30%. Operating profit margin. Yes, Malaysia operating profit margin decreased from 2020 to 2021, but increased slightly in 2022, suggesting that profit generated from sales decreased. Net profit margin. Yes, Malaysia net profit margin decreased from 3.12% in 2020 to 0.86% and 0.67% in 2021 and 2022, resulting in a decrease overall. Operating return on asset. Yes, Malaysia had a higher return on an asset in 2020 than 2021, suggesting they are more efficient and productive at managing their balance sheet to generate profit. Return on equity. Yes, Malaysia return equity decreased by 1.29% and 0.08% in 2021, indicating a low return on equity.
We present horizontal analysis of Nestle Malaysia. The analysis of liquidity ratio, first current ratio. We discovered that the current ratio for 2020, 2021 and 2022, which is 0.59 times, 0.59 times and 0.71 times respectively. Based on our analysis from the above chart, we can see that the current ratio is increasing in 2022. Second is acid test ratio. Based on the graph, Nestle Malaysia showed a decrease in the acid test ratio in 2020 to 2021, but increase in 2022, which went from 0.27 times to 0.2 times from 2020 to 2021. The quick ratio also decreased to 0.21 time in 2020 is average collection period. We found that the average collection period ratio for 2020, 2021 and 2022 is 31.88 days, 24 days and 24.38 days respectively. As a result, we can see that the average collection period ratio is decreasing from 2020 to 2021 and increasing to 2022. Is inventory turnover ratio. The graph shows that the ratio is decreasing from 5.77 times in 2020 to 5.07 times in 2021 and 4.13 times in 2022. Net working capital ratio. Based on the graph, in 2020, Nestle Malaysia reached negative RM 736,947 and decreased in 2021 to negative RM 788,490 and continued to increase in 2022 to negative RM 659,753. The analysis of leverage ratio. First, debt ratio. The graph shows that the debt ratio of Nestle Malaysia is decreasing, which is 80.53% in 2020 to 80.48% in 2021 and continue increase to 82.38% in 2022. In time interest earned, the graph shows that the time interest earned ratio of Nestle Malaysia is getting worse from 31.32 times in 2020 to 21.93 times in 2021, but it dropped sharply from 21.93 times in 2021 to 20.07 times in 2032. Horizontal analysis of asset management efficiency ratio. First, total asset turnover ratio. From the graph, we can see that the total asset turnover ratio of Nestle Malaysia total asset increased from 2020 to 2021 but decreased in 2022, which is 1.89 times in 2020, 1.92 times in 2021, and 1.88 times in 2022. The fixed asset turnover ratio. As can be seen from the graph, the fixed asset turnover ratio of Nestle Malaysia for 2020, 2021, and 2022 is 3.8 times, 3.74 times, and 3.99 times respectively. As a result, we can see that the fixed asset turnover ratio is decreasing from 2020 to 2021, which is getting worse. However, from 2021 to 2022 is increasing, which is getting better. Analysis of profitability ratio. First, gross profit margin. From the above graph, it can be seen that the gross profit margin of Nestle Malaysia is in decline of affair from 2020 to 2022. The gross profit margin of the firm from 2020 to 2022 was 36.32%, 34.15%, and 30.92% respectively. It can be seen that the gross profit margin decreased by only 2.17% in 2021 compared to the previous year. The graph, Nestle Malaysia operating profit margin dropped from 2020, 2021, and 2022 is 30.97%, 30.71%, and 30.55% respectively. Nestle Malaysia net profit margin was 10.21% in 2020, 9.94% in 2021, and 9.31% in 2020 has dropped dramatically. Net is operating return on asset. Nestle Malaysia return on asset was 29.42% in 2020 and has decreased to 29.34% in 2021. But in 2022, the return on asset dropped dramatically to 25.41%, which is declined 0.93%, lower than the previous year. Lastly, return on equity. From the graph, Nestle Malaysia return on equity was 99.21% in 2020 and has dropped dramatically to 97.79% in 2021, a decline of 1.42%. In 2022, the return on equity increased to 99.04%, which is 1.25% higher than previous year.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Ramajwa binti Hisham and my metric number is 8182XBA. Okay, today I would like to present about practical analysis of the ratio. 5.1 Comparative analysis of the liquidity ratio. A comparative analysis of the liquidity ratio shows that US company is more dominant than Nestle company. There is a big gap between the two companies where the figure in the US company is higher than the figure in the Nestle company. 5.2 Comparative analysis of capital structure ratio. The diagram shows that US Malaysia is 95.69% lower than Nestle Malaysia in debt ratio. Therefore, if the total debt of the company compared to its assets is less than 100%, this indicates that the owner has more assets than liabilities. In addition, the earning interest time ratio for US Malaysia company is only 2.5 times in 2021, while 21.93 times for Nestle Malaysia. Therefore, since Nestle Malaysia's time interest income ratio is greater than US Malaysia's company, the difference between their respective market capitalizations is 19.43 times. The graph above shows that in 2021, the total asset turnover ratio and the fixed asset turnover ratio show that Nestle Malaysia company has performed well compared to US company. Profitability ratio are a type of financial metric that can be used to measure and evaluate a company's ability to earn revenue over a certain period of time. It aims to compare and contrast the company's current performance with the history of both businesses. In 2021, the financial result of US Malaysia company and Nestle Malaysia company for the years 2021 show that the profit margin for for Yos Malaysia company is lower than for Nestle Malaysia's company.
Okay, this is a recommendation for both company Yos and Nestle company. Okay, Yos company and Nestle company can improve their performance in the future. Both of company need to prepare strategy based on the current economic situation and able to solve the struggle for their facing. This strategy able to help company maintain its performance and keep it a better position or higher in order to avoid losses and increase the profit. Based on the research, Yos and Nestle company has a strong brand equity, but they can may be affected in the near term, but in the long run, they will probably still define because of their stability business. Yos and the Nestle company must ensure that the manager in the charge of the company has the necessarily skill to deal with any problem that may arise so that the company is not adversely affected. Yos and Nestle company must identify all its requirements such as inventory so that when it goes through the inventory purchasing process, there is no excess inventory that will drive up costs or a lack of inventory that will slow down product processing. It is critical that the company management guarantee that the business runs smoothly at all times.
In conclusion, from the comparative result of the ratio analysis for both companies, we can see that there are many differences between Yos Malaysia Company and Nestle Malaysia Company in 2021. Since then, we have found that Nestle Malaysia Company is in a good financial condition compared to Yos Malaysia Company. This will cause Nestle Company be more reliable than Yos Company. Therefore, every business must be smart in managing their inventory and avoid buying excessive amount of inventory, as this will result in excessive inventory and financial loss.